Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday's Mastermind, where we are talking about speaking to grow. How do we use our words to grow our business in a way that is strategic, that we create attraction, and that we work smarter, not harder? Who could use a little bit of that? Who would like to work smarter, not harder? Let me see some hands in there. All right. And who would like to attract more clients? Yes, yes. Yes, yes. All right. So let's talk about that. We just went around the room and talked a little bit about what we're celebrating today. And thank you, Miss Marcia, for showing up. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you guys are all here. But what are we grateful for and celebrating? And today, let us celebrate each other. The fact that we are here, we are a gift. We are a gift to the world, we're a gift to the universe, and we're a gift to each other. So thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching later on the recording, you too are a gift just by tuning in and being present and sharing what we're offering or listening to what we're offering here, participating. I mean, this is juicy stuff that we got going on. So celebrate the fact that you're tuning in later. That's awesome. Come on, we need to celebrate it all. I love it. But I am really, really excited because on these Tuesdays Mastermind, you guys are used to hearing me. Oh, who am I? My name is Kathy Riley, by the way. Most of you know me, but those that are tuning in on the recording, you may not know me. I'm Kathy Riley. I am a speaker trainer, leadership coach, and I'm the Speaker Pro leader within Achieve. And that's why we do these. We want to help in our strategic in helping our entrepreneurs grow in their business through speaking. So today we're focusing on speaking, and I know you guys can be tired of listening to me speak. So this is why I'm so excited I have a guest here today. It is Miss Vanessa Raymond. One of the things I know about speaking, and you guys, when you hear a speaker who is just embodies confidence, that just shows up like all of that in a bag of chips, you tune in, don't you? Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. And you're just like you lean in, right? Our bodies cannot help but respond. We want to know more. We're listening. We want to follow their instructions, the value that they give. We're like, oh, and who better to talk to us today than Miss Vanessa Raymond, who is just, she embodies confidence, but not only does she embody it, she teaches it, she lives it, she breathes it. She grew up with it, right? She's just done so much with it. So I'm really, really excited to have her here and to pour into you guys on what she brings to the table. So let me do a little quick introduction. So Miss Vanessa, you may know this, after professionally performing on stages around the world for 2 decades, who wouldn't like some of that, right? And running her own beauty business, Vanessa pursued a career in the fitness and wellness industry, helping people improve their quality of life by becoming healthier and helping them reduce pain. As a result of her experience in performance, fitness, beauty, and education industries, Vanessa created her self-image and confidence coaching certification program called The Victory Factor. Vanessa's a seasoned international speaker, author. She's confidence and success coach. She is all that in a bag of chips. She's CEO of Achieve Systems. And for you guys that don't know, you're tuning in now or later, you don't know what Achieve Systems is, you need to know what it is. And it is one of the largest entrepreneurial organizations, coaching and support systems in the industry for entrepreneurs. She helps, but what she does at the end of the day, Vanessa helps entrepreneurs, speakers, and leaders to step into their power by improving their confidence, creating meaningful relationships, and a powerful business image so that they can be successful personally, professionally, and financially. And fun fact, Miss Vanessa is a devoted wife and mother of 3. If you see her in person, you'd be like, how is that possible? She is amazing and she looks 20. So please put your hands together for Miss Vanessa. Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy, and everyone here. Marcia, so nice to see you. Mac and Steve, just lovely to have you all here. And anyone who's listening later, thank you, Kathy, for having me this morning.
Oh, it's truly our pleasure. So, Vanessa, you and I have known each other for quite a while now, at least 5 years. And
Yeah.
as somebody who I've seen you probably longer than that, but we're not going to go back any further. Um, what I know is that you take stage time and time and time again. At every Achieve conference, I see you speaking around on podcasts, on with the LA Tribune. You're all over. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about how you incorporate confidence in your speaking.
I think confidence is, well, firstly, it's a skill, right? Some people think you're either born with it or you wake up in the morning with confidence. No, nobody does. Nobody is 100% confident all the time in everything that they do. It's just not how it is. So I think that's the number one realization I want to bring to people. It doesn't mean also that if you are confident that you don't get nervous, you don't get a little bit anxious, you don't get, all those butterflies, all those things still happen. But in the end, it is about your attitude around how you show up and also focusing on the right things. For me, when I talk about confidence and I talk to my speakers or my clients that work with me on confidence, and they're like, yeah, but it's easy for you to be confident because of this and this and this and that. Here's the thing. Confidence is like a muscle. It's a skill that you learn, and it's something that grows with experience. So whenever I start something new, I'm also not confident in that thing. But the secret is being confident in yourself and your own ability to know that regardless of what the outcome is that you have the ability to show up in your best capacity, be the best version of yourself, and then know that with every time that you do that, there's improvement. And I think those are the things that people miss when they think about someone being confident or someone showing up like they've got it down, or they got it handled. So for me, yes, sure. I mean, I've spoken a lot, and yes, sure, the nerves or the butterflies, all those things reduce as you get more confident and but I value those things because in the end, those are the things that keeps us on our toes. And that's adrenaline, right? And if you go out there without that being on your toes and that adrenaline, then it's hard to also have the energy and bring the very best. So I think it's very important for everyone to remember when you're nervous, it doesn't really mean that you're not confident. It just means that you have adrenaline going through your body, and that is there to help you show up as your very best version of yourself. And so you can use it to your advantage instead of hiding behind it or running away from it, right? So it's all about embracing it, embracing the opportunities. And Kathy, the second thing that I think is very important for people to understand is that there's always preparation that goes into everything. Nobody just shows up and be confident, right? You have to do the preparation, you have to do the work. I can feel confident about showing up on stages or on podcasts because I've done it over and over and over and over again. The first time I did it, I wasn't confident. I was really, really scared as crap. Even, and it's funny because people are like, well, you've been on stage your whole life, but it's very different to be a speaker than it is to be a performer. Hence, doing a musical or doing a show, yes, you prepare, you rehearse, you have 3 weeks or 8 weeks of rehearsal, of rehearsing the script, going over and over, and having a director and a choreographer and everyone telling you what to do. Whereas when you show up as a speaker, you're way more vulnerable because you have to be yourself. It's most of the time it is more ad-libbing, of course, you're going to practice and you're going to know what your subject matter. But again, you're more vulnerable because you're required to be yourself. You're not a character. So, when people say to me, but how were you so nervous? Yes, I spent my life on stage, but with a script and a choreographer telling me what to do. Whereas, speaking is a whole different bowl of wax. And so, yes, the first time I spoke, I was very nervous, but I did my homework. I practiced. I stood in front of the mirror. I knew my opening off by heart, so that because I understand too that those first 2 to 3 minutes, right? Those are the hardest. And if you can get through those successfully, then the rest is smooth sailing. So I always advise everyone to really have your introduction down. If you're going to be on a podcast or you're going to be speaking on stage, if you know how to open, then the rest is a lot easier. I know I just talked a whole lot, but those are the main things I wanted to say about that.
I love that. And that was perfect. So thank you. Thank you. And it's sort of teed up for my next question is I get asked a lot of times, it's like, we have this amazing talk prepared or training prepared or whatever we're doing, right? Podcast prepared. And we don't deliver it. We don't cover all the points, right? And then we get caught a little like, oh, we didn't do the job effectively. We weren't perfect. We didn't hit all of our points, which then they feel like it kind of hinders their confidence, right? So how, first of all, let me ask you, as a speaker and a performer, have you ever delivered the perfect talk? And the
So,
second thing is, what do you say or do to kind of boost your confidence after it's been delivered?
well, Kathy, number one, I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect talk. It's, and again, here's the deal. Your audience does not know. They don't know what you're there to deliver. They don't know what it is you intended to share. So, number one, don't beat yourself up because you did what was needed in the moment, right? You did what was needed for that audience or for that event. I have actually in mid presentation changed direction completely because I recognized that my audience was a different kind of audience or didn't resonate with the original message that I was going to share, or I suddenly realized that I have something else to share that I think would be more applicable for this audience. So I think part of being a good speaker and being a confident speaker is the ability to assess your audience very quickly, if not before you go on stage. I mean, ideally, you want to know who your audience is before you go on stage, but sometimes we get booked for these events and we show up and we suddenly realize, like a couple years ago, I spoke at an event and I knew I was going to be speaking to a bunch of dentists, which is not my regular audience. But after getting there and seeing the audience, I recognized that there was also a bunch of residential real estate people in the room. So before I went on stage, I kind of re-evaluated how I shared the same message, but the way in which I shared it was different because of the audience. So when you ask, what do I say to myself when I don't feel my talk was perfect? I believe that if we do what we need to do in the moment and we do it to the best of our capability in that moment, that's good enough because we learn from it every time. So I will not see it as a failure. I'll see it as a lesson, as something that I just learned for next time, right? And the audience, they don't know any different. To them, you were fabulous because they did not know that you were going to deliver a different message or in a different way or with more talking points. They don't really care. All they care about is that they got information and they feel inspired or motivated, right? And that they felt entertained. I think those are the three things that we focus on when we speak. And I know you would agree. You want to inform, you want to motivate or inspire, and you want to entertain. Those are the three things that keep people in your corner. And those, if you can check those three check marks, regardless of how it went in your mind. And if I might add, we are very hard on ourselves. Very often, I would say 99% of the time, we are way more critical of ourselves than our audience will ever be. So please keep that in mind. And if I may add one more thing, as a performer, I also recognize that sometimes people can make comments and say things without really thinking about how it might affect the person that they speak to, because I've had a lot of that, right? People just say things. Always remember that every person's opinion is subjective, and you need to take out of their comments or their critiques what it is that serve you and not what hurts you. Because in the end, you can't please everybody. You're never going to please everybody.
I love that. Thank you. And that's so true. And that's something, we've talked about time and time again, and something that I coach my clients with. And it's just the talk that you think you are meant to give is not always, it's not the talk that you give, but the talk that you do give is the talk that you were meant to give.
Yes.
So knowing that you are now in tune with your audience, that maybe there's some shift that you intuitively feel to maybe tell a different story and connect with the audience, that your basics, the value that you bring, right? So your talking points, we've talked about this, 3 to 5 talking points. These are the value that you bring. You can deliver them in 100 different ways. So being in tune, okay, these are the juicy parts that I want to give, but how I get there in the delivery is going to be different every single time. So giving yourself grace to know that you did the best you could based on everything.
Yes. Yes. And even, some of us can be so hard on ourselves when we do stumble over our words, or we do, or something happens, there's technical issues, and which happens all the time. Just get used to that, by the way. You're going to be a speaker, especially live on stage, stuff happens. Know that the more uncomfortable you appear with what happens, the more uncomfortable your audience is. So the secret is to be able to diffuse that by handling it with grace. And the only way you can do that is just to carry on and not put emphasis on whatever went wrong. As a dancer, we were always taught, if you lose a step or you miss a count, you just go on, you carry on, you catch up where you left off, right? And 9 out of 10 times, people will forget it right away. But if you make a big scene about it and you run off stage and everyone's going to remember it, right? So if you do trip when you step up on stage, or if you do stumble over your words, it's okay. Just move over it, move on, and keep going. And the audience will always give you grace for that. And actually, they'll respect you for that.
Such great advice. I love that. Thank you. Because we have, as humans, we have a tendency, we do, 99 things right, but we do one thing wrong, and we have a tendency to focus on the one thing. But
Yep.
when, your vibe attracts your tribe, if you're sitting there focusing on the things that you're doing wrong, so is everybody else. But if you can know that, okay, something's going to go wrong, and just go, okay, on to the next thing that goes right. That the energy will stay and continue and maintain that positivity, which is what that's what the audience wants. Remember, it's not about us as speakers, it's about the audience. So if we, flip up or something happens, technology, whatever, so what? Move on. It's about the audience, and that they receive the value that you are there to give.
Also, Kathy, if I may add to that, sometimes those little slip-ups can be to your advantage, because quite often when we're up on stage and, we're all high level entrepreneurs here, so we don't really think that way. But for a lot of people, they look at the speaker on stage and they have them on a pedestal. They're like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. I could never do that. That's so cool. But at the same time, if they put you on a pedestal, the expectations are really high. When those little incidents happen, you bring yourself down to that humanity level for them. And they're like, oh, okay, so Vanessa's also just human. She's not some superhuman. And I can identify with that, right? So one of my favorite stories to tell is the Barbara Streisand story, because, Barbara Streisand, for those of you who know who she is, very well-known singer, especially in the musical theater realm too. She has severe stage fright. She hates live performances. She way prefers to be in the studio and be a recording artist. But as it goes for artists, for them to be able to make their money, and for us as entrepreneurs, that's why we step on stage. Visibility is everything, right? So she does do the live shows, even though she despises them. But I had a couple friends who went to see her perform live on separate evenings. And the first friend that went, I spoke to her on the phone. I'm like, how was it? She's like, oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. But you know what? Barbara Streisand dropped her microphone in the middle of the show. She just dropped it on the stage. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it happens. It's all good. Few days later, I speak to another friend who went, and he told me the same thing. And I'm like, that was choreographed into the show to make an impression or bring that humanity factor into her performance. So all I'm saying is we don't necessarily want to do that, but that is the message, is that there is value in having that human factor happen. So when these things happen, take it in your stride, move on, and have the attitude of, oh, okay, that'll just have them understand that I'm also just human. I'm not some superhuman figure, right?
Love that. And I totally agree that it's amazing, depending on your audience, right? To maybe put in there, choreograph a goof. It could be something so simple as, there was that movie and this guy did this and this and this, and then somebody from the audience, well, there, for now you've got participation and they see you as human. So
Right.
juicy. I love that. All right. So we only have a few minutes left, but I would like to know, would love to have you share, what would be one tip that you would offer our listeners today to boost, what's one thing they could do to boost their confidence the next time they have a meeting, a conversation, or whatever? And then also, how can we learn more from you, stay connected with you,
Right.
and get to know more from you?
Well, as you know, Kathy, and actually, Mac, you know this about me. The one thing that I love to share is posture. And the value of just taking a deep breath and standing tall is unsurmountable. It sounds so simple, but that creates endorphins. It creates those feel-good hormones in our brains and our bodies that's going to instantly, within 2 minutes, just straightening up, opening your chest, standing tall, maybe putting a smile on your face, taking a deep breath, giving your brain oxygen. That is maybe the number one thing you can do for yourself before you step into a situation where you're feeling nervous or anxious. And again, there's so much around that and the science behind that I don't have time to explain right now. But that would be my number one tip, and consistency with yourself. Having confidence is really about trusting yourself. And the way you learn to trust yourself is to stick to your guns. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Create consistency so that your brain understands that you are accountable to yourself and you can trust yourself. And that is what's going to build confidence for you in everything that you do. And be prepared, right? So there's 3 things. Stand tall, take a breath, be prepared, and have consistency. And then, yeah, if you would like to connect with me, please feel free to look me up on Facebook, Vanessa Raymond in Denver, Colorado. And then you can also email me at vanessa@victoryfactor.com. Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, my pleasure. And do you have anything coming up, any special events or anything that you'd like to share?
Well, always the Achieve Conference, which is in October, on October 25th and 26th. Kathy can also tell you more about that, but reach out to me if you want to know more. Well, everyone here can tell you more about that. We're always excited about that. Personally, I'm launching the next Achieve Success magazine. So anyone who wants to contribute to that or be part of that, be featured in that, let me know. We can talk about what that looks like.
I love that. And can you please put your contact information into the chat so that everyone has it if they need it?
Yeah.
And then that's also captured in our recording. And I would, let me open it up for questions before, and I know we've hit our time, so if you need to leave, I understand, but I want to respect that. But if you're open to having a couple questions asked, should there be, are you good with that, Miss Vanessa?
I'm good. I do have another call I have to hop on, but I have a few seconds here.
Are there any questions?
I think these guys here know me well enough. Yes, Mac.
I really enjoyed the posture part and that, and I think that, we can all be intimidated when we walk into a room the first time, or maybe it's somebody that knows it, but most people don't know us. And taking that deep breath, putting your shoulders back, your head up in the air, and walking in like you own it, I think is very powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's so much value to that. And I can go on and on about that for a long time. But thanks for highlighting that, Mac. It really is about first impressions. And if you can make that confident first impression, regardless of how you feel inside, you've already won 3/4 of the battle.
Love that. So juicy. So juicy. So as we wrap this up, we spoke about trusting oneself, right? And owning who we are. And it reminds me of birds. Like I've got this thing going on right now with my garden, and I got my hummingbirds, and I got my bird feeder, and I have a new little water feature that the birds keep flying, and I'm just enjoying the birds. It's summer, right? So yeah, birds terrify me too because I was attacked by a bird, but from afar they're fantastic. So I love watching them. But when you think about birds and you watch their gift and how they fly, and have you ever watched how they land on a branch and how they land wherever they are landing? It is not that they know that the branch can support them. It's that they know they can support themselves regardless of where they land. So really think about it's on you. You are your biggest advocate. You are your biggest fan. And when you believe in yourself and trust in yourself, and you know that you have everything you need right now to make it the best day, the best week, the best quarter, the best year of your life, of your business, you've got it going on. Confidence comes from within. And Miss Vanessa gave us some amazing tools and tips today to boost our confidence. So thank you so much, Miss Vanessa, for sharing your genius. You guys, if you haven't already, go find her on Facebook, find her, look at her confidence program, connect with her. If you haven't had a one-to-one, she's got these amazing programs. Have a conversation with her. She brings such value, and I appreciate her being here. So you guys go enjoy the holiday week and be with your family, be present, know that you've got it. You are all that in a bag of chips. All right. And I will see you. We will not be meeting next Tuesday as I am traveling. So you'll get an email saying that we're skipping. So we're skipping 1 week. This is the first one, but we will be back the following week. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Peace out.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th. Take care.